Hey everybody, it's Tim Van Orden, and it's my birthday. I'm 53, which is the year of the Joker. Last year I finally got a full deck. This year I get my first Joker. So it's going to be a fun one. Anyway, I thought I would do my annual how many years I've been a vegan video. And if my count is correct, it is now 23 years as a vegan. And if you were to listen to all of the haters online, I should be withered away to absolutely nothing at this point, because after 23 years of the apparent deficiencies that I'm supposed to have, there should be nothing left. I should just be a husk. But the opposite is actually happening. So I want to talk about that in this video. I've been dealing with a few injuries, not because I'm vegan, but because I train a lot. And the bone spurs in my Achilles tendons are issues that I'm going to have for potentially the rest of my life. And I also have a tear in my left ankle. I was doing a boot slog trail run back in December sometime, and I twisted it and tore something, and it's not yet fully healed. So I've had to get really creative with my training throughout the winter. So I thought I would try cross-country skiing, because this is a sport that I know gives you extraordinary fitness. Most cross-country skiers are phenomenal runners without running that much. In fact, when I was a cross-country skier in high school, my buddy and I, he went on to become a 2-time Olympian in Nordic skiing, we would get to track season late because we would often go to the Eastern U.S. Championships, which took place later in the season. So the track athletes are already out there running, but we're still skiing. So we'd get to track practice with very little running in us, and we would do really well right away. So I know from experience, and also from talking to a lot of other skiers, that you're a pretty damn good runner just because you've been ski training all winter. So I thought cross-country ski training is going to get me super fit, so there's a possibility that I can have a really fast mile June 5th. So let's just put the hammer down and do a heck of a lot of skiing, and maybe some Bigfoot or Bigfoot Light, which, yes, there's a video coming about what that looks like, and some elliptical, which I really upped the ante on. And the results have been extraordinary. I have put in more training volume this year than I ever have in my entire life. From January 1st to the end of March, so the first 3 months of the year, the first quarter of the year, I put in over 250 hours of training. So that comes out to be a 1,000-hour year if I continue at that rate. The biggest training year that I ever had was when I was in college, and that was 550 hours. My goal was to hit 600, because to be an elite Nordic skier, it's generally recommended that you train between 600 and 900 hours. If you get up into the 1,000-hour range, you're probably one of the best in the world. So this is a milestone that I've never been able to hit. And again, depression, which has been a feature of most of my life, prevented me from doing the training. And now, even though I still have a brain that moves me in the direction of depression most days, I'm able to engage in a way that has never been possible for me before. So why I bring that up? I'm a vegan and apparently deficient. Apparently I'm withering away and I'm dying. I'm falling apart. And now I'm 53. So with 3 hours of training every day, back to back, for months, I should just be completely useless. I should be in an intensive care unit, tapped into all these machines on life support, and writing my last will and testament. But the opposite is happening. My fitness is through the roof. And let me just jump back a bit, because cross-country skiing was my favorite sport. It's the sport that really defined me in high school and college. There's something about it that just brings me out in a way that nothing else does. But I left the sport for a couple reasons. Initially, I left because of depression. I just couldn't do the training. I couldn't especially do the volume of training required to be good. But then when I moved back to Vermont in 2007 and took my Los Angeles running dreams and tried to incorporate them into a Vermont environment where we have winter for 5 or 6 months a year, I thought, Nordic skiing, but the sport had changed so much that just an entry-level racing package is going to cost you $5,000. If you really want to be competitive, you're looking at about, $7 or $8,000. Because you don't just buy one pair of skis. You got to have classic skis and you got to have skating skis. And then you've got to have different bases for different temperatures, different conditions. Cold, wet snow, dry snow, humid snow, warm snow, icy snow, crusty snow, new fallen snow, and different places. The snow in Vermont is different than the snow in Colorado, etc. So if you want to be an elite skier, you have to have lots of different skis for each of the different types of snow, and you've got to have classic versions of them and skating versions of them. You got to have skating boots and classic boots. You got to have skating poles and classic poles, and you're probably going to break them. So you got to have several pairs of each. Then you've got to have all the waxes that you need to be applying to your bases. So anyway, to be an elite cross-country skier, you've got to have an extraordinary sponsorship or several sponsors, or you got to be really wealthy. So part of running raw for me was about doing something that was accessible to as many people as possible. I wanted to show that you could eat well inexpensively. You didn't need to shop at Whole Foods. You didn't need to be middle class in order to eat the diet I was eating. So I really wanted to represent as inexpensive a diet as possible. And I also wanted to show that fitness was not something that required you to spend a lot of money to get. That you could engage in activities that were minimally expensive, like running. You can go out and get a $10 pair of shoes, and you can be a runner. You don't need to invest in a lot of equipment, which is another reason why I got into snowshoeing, because elite racing snowshoes are $180. Now, that's not cheap, but oh my God, is that a lot cheaper than cross-country skiing. And you don't need a season's pass. So I had to get a season's pass to the local ski area, Prospect Mountain, which I think cost me $220, which is a lot more than I want to spend, because with snowshoeing, I can just go anywhere. I don't need to buy a ticket. I just go off into the woods. But now I need groomed trails. Fortunately, my buddy had some leftover skis from broken pairs, so I got a yellow ski and a black ski that are totally mismatched, because my friend broke the opposites. I had some old poles kicking around from college, so I didn't have to buy poles. I never waxed my skis once this entire season. So the expense was the gas back and forth from the mountain. It's about 8 miles away. And the season's pass. So I was able to engage in ski training for as little money as I possibly could. And the results have been extraordinary. My body has completely transformed. As a runner, I've achieved some great fitness. As a snowshoer and as a stair climber, I've achieved some great fitness, but there's nothing like cross-country skiing. You're engaging every part of your body. And for some reason, that just gets me. It's physically much more uncomfortable than running. And yes, you do get to glide down the hills, but it's hard work. Some people stand up and they just let the hill do the work for them. I am crouched over in a tuck, pumping my legs back and forth, working the entire downhill. So for me, on cross-country skis, there is no rest. I'm taking advantage of every moment that I'm out there. And again, the result is that my body has responded in a way that I am just curious, I think is the word, that I'm really curious about, because I want to see how far I can take this transformation. I've put on a lot of upper body muscle. I've put on a lot of lower body muscle. I'm about 10 pounds heavier than when I was just doing running training. And if I continue, which I plan on doing because I'm roller skiing now, I invested in a pair of roller skis because I want to see how far I can take this. So as a 53-year-old vegan who has been vegan for a really long time, who is training now about 2 hours a day, so once March ended, I thought I would drop my training down a little bit in April, down to 2 hours a day, which is still a lot for most people. And I'm noticing that my body is recovering from those 3 months earlier in the year, and my fitness is skyrocketing. So what have I learned about being a vegan after 23 years and turning 53? Well, I've learned that my fitness is not yet fully realized. I'm growing. I'm getting better. I'm getting stronger. I'm getting fitter. I'm seeing my body do things that it could not do or did not do when I was younger. My skiing fitness right now is better than it ever was in college. So I've still got the goal of running a super fast mile on June 5th, but I don't know if that's actually going to happen or not because I'm still waiting for this ankle injury to heal up. So I'm afraid to get out there and do some quick running workouts. I'm still going to leave it there on the calendar, but I'm okay if it doesn't happen because what's far more interesting to me is to see what I can do in the world of cross-country skiing. Again, even though I'm not a fan of expensive sports because they are exclusive and elitist, I want to try to get back in as cheaply as I possibly can. I want to try to do it with one pair of skis rather than 8 or 10 or 40. You wouldn't believe what some of these national team members have. They literally have like 40 or more pairs of skis. So I'm going to try to do it with one pair and see what I can get done. Anyway, the World Championships are going to be in Canada next year. I don't know the date, but they're going to be in Canmore, which is just outside of Calgary, Canada, Alberta. And I am going to train for the World Championships for Masters. And based on what I saw this year with just a few months of ski training, I really think I got a shot of being on the podium. What can my body do without hormone replacement therapy? Guys my age, a lot of them are taking testosterone. I'm not taking any kind of supplement except for some vitamin D every now and again, some vitamin B12 every now and again. Neither one of those is consistent, but that's it as far as supplementation is concerned. I don't take any EFAs. I do some flax seeds, I do some chia, but not a lot of them. So many of the things that we're told that we must supplement on a regular basis, I'm simply not doing. I am consuming more protein than I have in the past because endurance athletes actually have greater protein requirements than strength athletes because of the amount of hours that we're out there training. So if you're training 3 hours a day, your protein requirements are going way up. So I am doing a lot more protein than I have in the past, but you can get that from Whole Foods. Yeah, sky's the limit. I'm really excited because I'm not hanging things up at the age of 53. I'm ramping things up at the age of 53 and training more than I ever have in my life and feeling fantastic. And my body is responding by growing. So what have I learned after 23 years of being vegan? That this rocks. That's what I've learned. So yeah, I'm not having any regrets. I'm not having any complications or problems. I'm having the opposite. I'm having the time of my life. So I think that's enough for now. More videos coming. I've been working on a lot, and the training has been pretty intense, and that has limited what I can do. Because if you're training 3 or even 2 hours a day, there's a lot of time on either side of that training, coming up and coming down. And I've been doing a lot of research, a lot of thinking, a lot of coaching. My coaching has increased. But there are more videos coming. And I'm working pretty intensely on some writing projects. So We'll see when they come out, hopefully soon. But yeah, I'll keep you in the loop. All right. See ya. Yeah, that's how I felt about cross-country skiing.